Bonjour les Yanaï, c'est la deuxième leçon de Week 2. Écrivez la date et le titre. Jeudi 4 mars ou vendredi 5 mars. Le titre c'est la négation. We are revising negative sentences today. Copy the vocab that's on the slide and translate. As an extension, try and find other adjectives to describe means of transport. So before having your adjectives, make sure you write down the phrase un moyen de transport. Yeah, means of transport. Off you go. Pause now. Okay, so un moyen de transport is means of transport. Cher, as we've learned in last lesson, cher means expensive. This is the masculine form and this is the feminine form. Then polluant, polluting. You add an E when you describe something feminine. Relaxant, relaxing. Add an E if it's feminine. Pratique, so practical or useful. Okay. Because this adjective already ends with an E, you don't need to add an extra E to make it feminine. You just keep it the same. Facile is easy. Rapide is fast. And écolo or écologique means eco-friendly. Make sure you correct your work. Ok, alors, c'est les mêmes objectifs pour toute cette semaine. On parle des moyens de transport, on révise la comparaison et les phrases négatives. Alors, on commence avec un exercice d'écoute pour utiliser le vocabulaire que l'on vient d'apprendre. Ok, we've learned vocab in the starter and in last lesson. And in this listening, you will hear this vocab and you will need to understand what is going on. Okay, so copy the grid for Aisha, but also add a line for Benjamin and Nolan. You need to pay attention to how they go to school, what transport they use and the reason for it, what their favorite transport is and the reason, and any extra detail. To access the listening, you need to go on Kabodo, exercice 4, page 113. As an extension, you can transcribe what Aisha says. You should listen at least twice to the recording, and because there's quite a lot of information, I'm happy for you to listen to it 3 times. Pause now. Okay, alors Aisha, she said that she goes by bus to school because it's cheap and practical. Her favorite transport is going by boat, and she says that it's because it's relaxing. As an extra detail, she said that she took it when she went to Great Britain. Then for Benjamin, he said that he goes to school by bike, and he gave 3 reasons for it. He said it's eco-friendly, it's good for the health, and it doesn't pollute. Then Benjamin's favorite transport is the plane. And he says that's because it's very fast. Extra detail, he said that last year he went by plane to Guadeloupe. Does anybody know where Guadeloupe is? Guadeloupe is a French island in the Caribbean. It's a very popular holiday destination for French people. So have a look on the internet, find pictures. It looks very, idyllic. Très bien. Ensuite, Nolan, transport pour aller à l'école. He said that he cycles to school. He takes a bike, okay? He explains his reason because he says He lives only 5 minutes away from school. And also cycling is good for the health. For Nolan, his favorite transport is the electric car because he says it's eco-friendly. And finally, extra details. He doesn't like flying because it's too polluting. And also he mentioned that his mom has an electric car. So these were all the elements that you had to understand from this listening. The part about Nolan was more difficult to spot because he started with extra details. Then he mentioned his favorite transport, and then he explained his transport to school. So it was not done in order, and that was what was confusing. This is why when you do a listening exercise, you really need to concentrate, because they try to trick you that way. Ok, on continue. Maintenant, on va réviser la négation. Remember how to make a negative sentence. In French, we do not have a word for don't or didn't. We don't have that. As you already know, we sort of make a hot dog. Okay, so we put ne or n apostrophe, which means not. Okay, then we have our verb conjugated. And then you must have learned so far that after the verb, you would have pas, okay? However, there are other words that you could use instead of pas. So I'm gonna introduce you to a few alternatives. So you could use pas if you want to say not, but you could use plus if you mean not anymore, like I don't travel by car anymore, okay? You can use jamais, which would mean never. And you can use ni and ni. It means neither nor. Okay? Just before you start writing this, who knows the difference between ne and n apostrophe? How can I choose between these two words? They're actually the same words. N apostrophe is basically the word ne, but we drop the E when the verb starts with a vowel. So if your verb starts with A, I, O, E, U, you would use N apostrophe instead of NE. That's the only reason for this little apostrophe. We drop the E because it flows better to have the N apostrophe in front of the verb. Make sure you copy down as well that sometimes the negatives are followed by de, which would mean any. So make sure you copy this down. So write down recette pour faire une phrase négative, make a hot dog. You can draw the hot dog if you want, but you may not have enough time, so just make sure you have the structure written down in your book. Ne plus verb plus pas, plus, jamais, ni or ni. Make sure you write down the translation and the blue box. You've got 2 minutes to do this. Off you go. Okay, pause now. Allez, on continue. Maintenant, il faut s'entraîner. Right, let's practice. So, you need to translate these following sentences on our current topic using the negatives. And you've got extra help at the bottom as well with some examples. Okay? I've put some vocab here to help you. Holiday camp is camp de vacances, and London in French we say Londres. You'll need 5 minutes to do this task. Off you go. Pause the video now. Allez, c'est parti, on corrige. So, I take neither the train nor the bus was je ne prends ni le train ni le bus. Okay? B, my brother has never taken the plane. Mon frère n'a jamais pris l'avion. It was in the past tense. We've learned it. The past participle of prendre is irregular. It's pris. I hope you've remembered it. If you did not, you need to learn it off by heart. This verb will be in your GCSE. So you see the structure, ne, and then a, and then jamais, making a sandwich around the verb a, and then the past participle of prendre. C, I like neither sporty holidays nor holiday camps. Je n'aime ni les vacances sportives, ni les camps de vacances. Okay, so we've got ne in front of the verb, followed by ni, the first element, and then ni again with the second element. D, I no longer take the boat because it isn't practical. Je ne prends plus le bateau parce que ce n'est pas pratique. Ne and plus around prend. It was no longer, not anymore, so ne and plus. E, if we take the plane, we will not have a car. Si on prend l'avion, nous n'aurons pas de voiture. I hope you remembered the future tense of the irregular verb avoir. You've got the irregular stem AUR and the ending. An apostrophe in front of it, not ne because avoir starts with a vowel. Pas after the verb, followed by de, the word for any. We will not have any car, in a way. And then F, my friend Matt has never visited London. Mon ami Matt n'a jamais visité Londres. So it was a perfect tense, so you needed to have the verb avoir, the past participle of the verb visiter, which is an ER verb. Mon ami Matt is the same as saying he. That's why I took the he form of avoir. And I've put ne in front of it and jamais after it. Okay? Always make a sandwich around the conjugated verb. Make sure you correct any mistake. This was quite a challenging exercise. I'm sure you must have made some mistakes. It was challenging. So just learn from them and remember the correction. Okay? On continue. Maintenant, on va faire un exercice de compréhension écrite. So this is a conversation between Chiara and Tom about how they travel. Read the questions so that you know already what pieces of information you need to pay attention to. Okay, you can choose to do this as a reading exercise. I'm going to read it so that you can practice listening, but you can just do this as a reading if you want. Up to you. So, Chiara. Salut Tom, je suis à Québec. J'ai pris l'avion hier matin. C'était mon premier voyage en avion. C'était génial. Tom. Salut Chiara, tu as de la chance. Nous, on ne prend ni l'avion ni le bateau. On prend toujours le train ou la voiture. Je n'ai jamais pris l'avion. Chiara. Mais pourquoi tu ne prends pas l'avion? Tom. Parce que mes parents pensent que l'avion est trop cher et trop polluant. Ils sont très écolos. L'année dernière, quand on est parti en Espagne, on a pris le camping-car. C'était très long et ennuyeux. Chiara. Alors regarde les photos sur mon blog. À plus. Tom. D'accord, à plus. Pause now and you've got 3 minutes to do this activity. Off you go. Alors, on va corriger. So, where is Chiara? That was the example. She is in Quebec. That's the region in Canada, you know, the French-speaking region. How did she travel? She said, I took the plane. So the answer was by plane. How does Tom usually travel? He says, we don't take neither the plane nor the boat. So these were not the answers. He said, we always take the train or the car. So C was the train or the car. D, why don't Tom's parents want to travel by plane? He says because his parents think that the plane is too expensive and too polluting, and his parents are very eco-friendly. E, how did Tom travel to Spain? He said, last year when we went to Spain, we took the camper van. Camping-car is camper van. What was the journey like? He said, c'était très long et ennuyeux. It was very long and boring. Okay, correct your work. Maintenant, on continue. Nous avons atteint tous les objectifs de cette leçon. Maintenant, c'est l'heure du plenary. So, explain out loud how to form a negative in French. Do not look in your book. Just from memory, explain out loud how to form negative sentences. Très bien. You can check your answer by looking in your book at the part about the negative sentences. Très bon travail, les Year 9. Make sure you hand in your work. Et don't forget to ask questions to your teachers if anything was unclear. OK? Très bien. Au revoir à tous.